So, good afternoon, everyone, and it's good morning to you, Steve. Thank you so much for joining Continental Conversations with SWAA. You are our first guest on this show, and I just wanted to say a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for tuning in so early. I don't know, what is the time where you are?
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's 7 in the morning. Gosh, okay. All right, that's quite early, but thank you. So, Steve, we just wanted to know a bit about you and tell us a bit about you and your heritage link to Africa, or how you feel about Africa, because you and I have been in discussions before about this.
Well, good morning. Good morning to Africa. Good morning to everyone that is listening to us. Or good day or good afternoon. Well, as we all know, we all are descendants from Africa. We all know the story. Our foreparents were brought here through the slavery trade, and we were brought to an environment that we have. I mean, when I think about it, as a people, we have went through tremendous pain, and we have rise to become awesome people. The Caribbean, most Caribbean persons that I know always want to go back to Africa, and was always one of my passion to be a part of the Africa movement. I mean, I have traveled to almost every single continent in the world, but not yet Africa. And I always say that the Father is really saving me for a very special time to take me back home, that I really help to really contribute to something, some movement in some way, some form, some fashion. So it's a passion. I mean, right now I get invitation from around the world, and I'm not. I am so passionate in terms of coming and helping in any way I can, because I believe that well-being is where that's where it all started. So I'm really excited about the heritage, about what I can find in Africa. Being a part of the CISWA, I was allowed to travel throughout the region. And in one of the islands, is Suriname, is a Dutch-speaking island. It's a part of the CARICOM, which is a group of islands that come together, and we call it CARICOM. So part of that, we get to go to the Dutch-speaking. It's a part of South America as well. But in Suriname, they have what they call the Maroons. And Maroon is really is one of the indigenous African, or the only indigenous African people that are still here,
Very
still
interesting.
practicing their heritage, still practicing all the things that they brought from Africa with them, because they are in the interior, live on their own. I had the opportunity to go and speak with them, and it was such an excited time I had with them.
I can
And
imagine.
always want to go back to Suriname, but time never. In fact, I was supposed to be in Suriname April last year, and then the pandemic hit. I was supposed to go and do a master class in Suriname, and then the pandemic hit. So that link, and then then the other territory is really Jamaica, where they have different Maroon groups. So when I go to Jamaica, I always end up in trying to learn so much more, because that's what I really passionate about.
Oh, wow. Amazing. And how long did you spend with them, with the Maroon?
We only spent a day. We spent a
Okay.
day. Because
Okay. But that was enough to inspire you as well. Yeah.
in fact, the thing about it, I always use it in my class, is that I had to do a presentation, right? I do not speak the Dutch language. So I had an interpreter. So I did a presentation, and this guy was the head of the chief of the Maroon, of his compound. And the day after, I went back to the venue, and I saw this lady running, and she was running, and she was so excited, and she saw me, and she said, "My husband wanted to see you," and I said, "Okay." And she was like, an interpreter is trying to translate it to her, and she said he was sleeping in the middle of the night, and he jumped up and said, "Aha! I got it. So because I was sharing with them about well-being and how they could
Right.
be there. So and we never get the opportunity to meet because he was so busy doing other stuff. So
Of
I always
course.
really, really want to go back there.
Oh, well,
And
that's a great way to, see people's reactions and how they feel about that experience. So, your wellness business consists of 3 spas, and you were the founding member of the Caribbean Spa Association, um, just like I am with SWAT. So, how did this come about, and what successes did you have?
well, I am the owner. I started. I remember in 1991. I was a part of my martial. I was a martial art practicing martial art and was trying out for the national team. And someone sent me to get a massage, and I thought that's the most fantastic thing that ever happened to me. And I spent about 4 years trying to learn massage therapy. Um, there were no one in Barbados teaching massage therapy then, and I remember I was trying to get to London to get to do that. And then what happened is that then I had a guy here that decided he wanted to teach the first class ever taught in Barbados for a massage therapy. And then he decided he didn't want to do it. So I kind of bribing him to take all the money I have and take it to him and said, "You have to teach this class." So that's where it started from. And I have grown to be one time I had 4 spas one time in Barbados after, during the pandemic, which is we had one at the airport,
Hmm.
which I at the airport with the express spa. We have one now, the retreat, the bamboo retreat, and then we have on the beach, where only one in Barbados that does massages on the beach. So we have like a mobile on the beach itself. Since the pandemic, the airport was closed. There's no action. So right now I'm just operating. Well, no tourists in Barbados, so the beach is not operating. So right now I'm operating one spa now, which is here at the Bamboo Retreat. And I think I'm because I'm trying to focus more because when you have so much business, you're so scattered, you're doing so many different things. So I decided I really want to focus more and really, really help to do so many different things because I can say I've lived my dreams, things that I dreamt about. And if you ever come to Barbados, most Barbadans would tell you, I tell them my dream on national television. I tell them all the things I want to do. And I've basically, well, in most people's mind, they will say, I have lived my dream. But to me, it's just a part of my life. And that the first half of my life that I have lived. And I'm now willing to go to the next half, which is the passion in training. And before I get to training, CISWA, I never, well, I was one of the founding members of CISWA. I remember spending the first, when Denzel Phillips, he had the first meeting. I remember he walked into my office how many years, I cannot remember. He dragged me out to this conference in St. Lucia, and he made me do my first presentation, public presentation in anything. And I just say what I had to say and what I felt then. And then they invite me to another conference, and then I was chosen as um, vice treasurer. And 3 years after, they decided to hijack me and put me in the position of chairmanship. It
Fantastic.
it was a very difficult, and I understand the pressures that keep going on. A very difficult role to actually take on. And I spent like 6 years of my life. And my first goal was to find money to really help the association to develop.
Yeah.
And yes, and I spent a lot of time and effort to do that. We found money. We did a really good project, which the vision was to develop standard for the region. We developed a strategic plan for the sector itself. And but it becomes too political. It gets very pressure. And the sad thing about it, when you're running or when you're doing anything on your own, no one helps. but we get some money and everybody wants everybody coming to get money. It becomes very political,
Yeah.
and I have to remove myself really. And it was a very sad time for me because I understand the work I have put in
Mm.
and what we have done, and I have cut myself off for about 5 years with anything in terms of anything other than my business. I spent
Mhm.
time and really developed my
So
business.
you've moved that in, like you've moved that time, that energy from what you were doing with SWAA, and then you've put it into your own business today. And I do get what you're saying about the political game that goes on when you're trying to set up an association and on behalf of its members. It's not easy. And you're right about when you're working alone, and then all of a sudden when there's money, and then that can become very complicated. And it's, I think, also how it's managed. But now that you've moved like that energy, let's call it an energy, you've moved it to Steve Andrews Associates, is that also part of the success here?
Well, yeah, because when I was a CSWA, I had this concept because when we were speaking about standard, and I travel, what it allowed me to is to travel the world, having discussion with different people about what are the standards, what they're looking for, where the wellness sector is at, and how we can really expand.
Right.
And my vision was to make the Caribbean as the world's largest spa and wellness destination. That was my vision. I still believe that we could do that. And one of the things that keeps coming back, that I keep hearing from people, everybody is doing something, but it's
Mm.
not enough to create and develop them into therapy. So I come to the point where I say the problem really wasn't standard, was training, but is what kind of training we are giving to our
Therapist.
therapists around within the sector. And I was keep saying to my colleague, we have to change this concept. And
Mm.
was an idea I had was to develop, focus on therapy development, or what I would call industry training development.
Mhm.
And and I had it then and afterwards. Then since the pandemic, early last year, I do a lot of training in terms of individual person.
Online. So yeah, so I'm going to get into that actually. So your masterclass is different, and you're bringing this amazing masterclass to Africa for the first time, and you're doing that on SWAA's platform, which we're so happy to announce and have announced. So tell us what massage therapists will learn, and why you teach this class in the way you do.
Well, as I said, I see so many therapists that they're passionate, they're full of energy, but we all we teach right now is modalities or techniques. You go and you hear people talk about a million different styles. They could do yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I get to have an African massage. Everyone is developing. So the new concept now is taken away from our what we would call it initial our concept of developing therapy, and now we are moving from the client to ourselves. So a lot of people are just doing stuff without understanding the aspect of therapy. So what I'm teaching, as I said, is not really teaching. I'm sharing with other therapists the elements of therapy. So when I come and perform or present myself to you, I'm not coming to you saying, "Hey, become Steve Andrews." Where I'm coming to teach you how to be me. The whole
Mhm.
idea is allowing each person to really reveal themselves as therapists. Every It's like a flower. Everything is different.
So are
Everyone.
you saying, so Steve, are you saying, for example, are you saying like the modalities and the structure that they learn, the basics that they learn, is that not as vital as you teaching them to be themselves as a therapist?
You dropped us now, so can you repeat what you said?
So you teaching them to be themselves as a therapist, not to be you, but to be themselves, is that not just as important as them understanding the modalities and structure of what they've learned on the basic?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that all my student must have certification in therapy in
Okay.
massage. So,
Okay.
so you must understand the basic
Mm-hmm.
structure
Okay.
of therapy. I'm not saying that you must not know how to do a massage and go through the process of massage therapy. What I'm saying, I'm going to help you to remove yourself from doing routines. Like you go to a class and they teach you how to do a massage and you're doing a routine.
Of
And now
course.
start thinking how to get into therapy component, how to now
Okay.
strip away all of those routines that when someone comes to you, you can find the tool, you can
Okay. We have a bit of.
find what are the elements to get the best ever services that you're going to provide. So we will look at many different things like touch, the importance of touch. So many people get into massage and just jump on you. They're
Mm,
so excited because understand how do I introduce? If I meet you, if I'm walking the street and I meet you, I want to introduce myself to you. I want to
absolutely.
learn as much as possible about you before we actually get into any whatever we are getting into. Something. What are the critical components of touch? Why touch is important? When you touch the things that you can find in touch, then we will get into the breathing component, breathing exercise. Why breathing and touch must go together. So when like I do it all the time,
Okay. It's, yeah.
when
Sorry.
someone gives me a massage, they say, "Can you take a deep breath?" And I keep saying, so I keep saying, "Why are you asking me to take a deep breath?" And most people don't know why, because that's
Mm,
what was taught. Just say take a deep breath. But when we
mm,
can dive into the concept of breathing, how can breathing change um, your total massage service?
mm.
If when in my
Yeah.
class, I can allow you to unplug. You don't have to ask me to take that breath. I will take that breath for you.
Mm,
So it's how you develop all of these components and
mm.
get into the concept of the touch, energy, vibration, why all of these components. I mean, if you can string the basic elements of therapy together, just stringing the basic elements of therapy,
Yeah.
then your massage will improve by fold. And that's just the understanding of what
Right.
you do before you start
Right.
massaging.
Yeah.
Um, energy. I mean, when I start training, my instructor always say, "Oh, you need to learn to balance energy." If I go and ask everybody, anyone, what is energy? How do you balance your energy? I get so many different um, um,
Answers.
conversation about balancing energy. I mean,
Mm,
and most of us don't know what it is. What is
mm,
energy? And we still struggle. And I struggled for a long time trying to say, I thought I know. Like most people, they say you rub your hand together and you hold it, and then you can feel the energy bouncing off of your hand. And I
yes.
used to do that. And what I thought was it was not because what when you do this, it's in your mind because someone tell you will feel the energy and the mind will make you feel something, but that's what energy is like. It's like going to the gym. You just can't go to the gym and build muscle, and it
Yeah.
will take time for you to harness that energy. And now I don't have to rub my hands together. I just have to place my hands together.
It's very
And
interesting. It's very interesting. So the elements is what you will be focusing on in this training, correct? And you will be focusing on teaching therapists in Africa how to be themselves, how to understand therapy a lot more. And it resonates with what you're saying resonates. I mean, I remember when I was a therapist, you were taught just the basics. You were taught, well, keep your back straight, position your feet. But it wasn't until I met a lady from Greece who then really took me through that whole part of elements and the energy, and I also combined it with the Oriental therapist that I met along the way. who had learned from their masters how to pass this energy. So I think, honestly, this is going to be so interesting. I have a question for you. How many students have you trained in your lifetime on this?
Um, the challenge is that I always said that it was funny. I was teaching people. I remember when I was teaching regionally, I was in a battle of teaching because I think I know what I want to teach, but I was not teaching what I know I want to teach. Because when you go to a workshop, the first thing is, what is the modality you're going to teach? Are you going to teach English? Are you going to teach whatever? And I was trapped into that. And what I
Yeah.
did lately, I find time to start rediscover myself. I start seeing him saying that this is not what we're doing. I have teach a lots of person. Um, I mean, I keep saying I have touched at least 50%, maybe 40% of the
That's
therapists
good.
alone.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I mean, we're so exciting. And if there's, so Steve, as we come close to this interview, is there one thing that you feel a massage therapist needs to show to become really great? What ability should he or she possess?
Let me go back first because you asked the question is that I'm not just teaching the elements. The elements, for me, if you don't understand the elements, then you are lost. You will be just going through and so the elements, like the class that I'm teaching, it can be a 2 day workshop, it can be a 1 day workshop, it could be a 5 day workshop because we can go deeper and deeper. All the class are dynamic. It's based on
Mhm.
where you are. I always like to have a full understanding of where you are as a therapist. So I would like so basically if I'm doing a face-to-face class, the first thing I'm gonna do is full assessment. I want to see, I'm gonna watch you do a massage and see where you how you are. Just stand back and watch you.
Mhm.
So when I do that, I can see where you are as a therapist. And then so it's not really just elements I'm teaching you of therapy. We'll go through all of the different components. We'll go through the relationship between massage and anatomy. I'm not teaching you anatomy. I'm teaching
Okay.
you relationship. So we will dig into relationship. Why all of these things will impact the body. So when someone come to you like sleeping, a lot of people say one of the most important when someone fall asleep and everybody get excited. I make that person fall asleep. But what happened when that person is sleeping?
Yeah, yeah.
So all of those things we'll dive into and see why this is important that we understand these things. When we
Mm.
understand these things, then our therapy becomes better. Then we will look at the body mechanics in relation because if your body mechanics is not good, your touch is going to be horrible. Because if you are not in control, then your touch is so. I don't want you to stand across the bed and you're doing a FRRs going one direction. So all of
Yeah.
those we'll look at. And then we will look at the tools in your toolbox, meaning all the techniques you have.
Yes.
Because when someone comes to you for therapy, you're just not going to, in your head, well, I'm going to do a Swedish massage. But
Yeah.
understand the need of the client. So I'm moving
Yeah.
from massage into massage therapy. I keep saying there's lots of people in the world that does massage, but we don't have enough therapists. This world have gone through one of the most roughest that we ever see period in our life. People
Mm.
now looking for therapy. And we speak about mental health.
Yeah.
I will not tell you if I could give you my story about my experience in my office and my with my client, it will blow your mind
No,
because
amazing. I mean, Steve, there's so much to dig into here, and I know we've run out of time here. But I just want to say to our viewers who are listening in, Steve will be in 6 days giving an introduction to masterclass massage therapy right here on SWAA. And you can sign up. It's free, guys. It's free. Come in, get an introduction to what his course is going to be about. So the introduction is in 6 days time on the 22nd of March. And his class starts here with us also in April. So for those of you who really do want to register and become better therapists and, you know, learn what therapy truly is, then you can register for that as well. And for our members, obviously, that will be in your mailboxes. So please do look at that. Steve, it's amazing. And I'm sure everyone listening is very excited right now for you coming and bringing this to Africa. We're so, so happy. And, you know, the invitation is still standing, as I mentioned to you. So you're always very welcome here. And definitely I'll be coming over to you as well. So we'll definitely get to meet very soon. So thank you so much for doing this with us.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And as I said, I'm looking forward to this excitement adventure. And as I keep saying, it's not about money or anything. It's just I have to really.
Great.
If I go, I remember someone said that if you have a cup and it's full and you don't empty it, then it's no good. So I just need to empty my cup, and that's my passion.
That's amazing. And that just resonates with our Ubuntu here in Africa, you know, which is, you know what Ubuntu is when you come here as well. Thank you so much, Steve Andrews. It was a pleasure to have you on Continental Conversations with SWAA. Thank you.
It's my pleasure as well.